I came back from my deployment only to find my wife with another man on my bed. Being in love is arguably one of the most beautiful things in life, but it is also one of the most perilous. I understand that life is all about taking chances. As a private, I joined the Marines. I'm now a corporal. I busted but I'm still here. I wanted to be a Marine for the rest of my life, or so I thought. I'm in a difficult situation. My wife and I married 3 years ago. I was madly in love with her when I married her. She made me happy with everything she did. I adored how she looked at me, how she smiled, laughed, and played with her hair. Now, I'm not sure whether I still adore her. I was on deployment for 8 months. Now, while I was at the base, my brothers would often remind me that women only married soldiers for the advantages. You know, things like benefit payments, healthcare, education, vacations, and so forth. They claim spouses become lonely when we deploy and bring a pal home while I'm here. I didn't pay attention to any of this, did I? Isn't it not true of all women? Well, I'm not sure anymore. It's not my position to suggest that every woman is now like this. When I returned home, I had to fly for 12 hours. I was desperate to see my folks. A wife and a lovely princess. Being apart from my child is like being hit in the gut a billion times till I see her again. Despite this, I was always conversing with her. I step inside, believing they are present. There was no one at home, as far as I could tell. I sat down and waited for them. I called my wife, but she did not answer. There is no text, nothing. I walked into the kitchen and heard several thumps. It sounds like it's coming from the basement. I heard a man groaning as I opened the door. I make my way down silently. It helped that we had a really soft, furry-like carpet. Also, wow. I found my wife kissing someone I went to high school with. We weren't best buddies or anything, but we were acquainted. This seemed unbelievable to me. I don't play this garbage anymore, so I hopped on the bed and beat this dude. Not in the way that other males do, but it was enough to inflict him a black eye and a split lip. He was well aware that she was my wife. He was aware that I was absent. Wife was yelling at him not to strike him, that she is really sorry. My house has been at base since that time. This house is nothing more than a collection of destroyed memories. My brothers were correct about marriage and specifically about my wife. I will never trust my wife again, and if I divorce, I want to remain a Marine, which implies that marrying again would be a waste of time. I don't play this garbage anymore, so I hopped on the bed and beat this dude. Not in the way that other males do, but it was enough to inflict him a black eye and a split lip. He was well aware that she was my wife. He was aware that I was absent. Wife was yelling at him not to strike him, that she is really sorry. My house has been at base since that time. This house is nothing more than a collection of destroyed memories. My brothers were correct about marriage and specifically about my wife. I will never trust my wife again, and if I divorce, I want to remain a Marine, which implies that marrying again would be a waste of time. We are, in fact, still married. This was not a long time ago. I regret remaining with her on a daily basis. When she grins at me, I simply look away, and when she embraces me, I just look away, placing one arm over her. I turn my head when she attempts to kiss me. Our favorite part was trying something we'd never eaten before. We would go to distant states only to dine at the best restaurants. We hadn't done it since before I departed for Asia. I'm just no longer in love. When I mention divorce, she leaps on me and apologizes profusely, shedding phony tears, that she will never do such a thing again, that she cares for me. She admitted to sleeping with him 3 times. I know I'm all over the place, so throughout my absence, she only slept with him 3 times. Okay. To be honest, I think I should be nominated for most distant spouse. She to me, telling me she misses me, and that what she did was a mistake. That she'll go to any length to keep us the same as before. We don't dispute, yet we're more separated than adversaries. She is always recommending that we visit a therapist. All they'll do is tell us to make up. I'm not doing anything that entails touching her or establishing eye contact for more than a second. That is why I will not be attending. I was unconcerned about my daughter. She has a striking resemblance to me. She has my ears, eyes, and hair color. I don't need a DNA test. Even though she wasn't mine, she was my life. I would never abandon her. She is the reason I'm not divorcing and ending my marriage. At the base, one of my brothers didn't slap me in the face. I recall them stating that if you come home and find your wife in bed with someone else, we'll claim we told you so. But he didn't say it. Instead, he added, I'm wrecking my life with the wrong person. He said that if I do not divorce, I would be unhappy when I may meet someone wonderful. Sure thing. I simply want to return home. However, because to the epidemic, this will not be possible. I offer everyone a blessing and ask that they keep safe indoors. Story 2. My ex asking for another chance. After she cheated and left. My ex cheated on me, lied to me, gaslighted me, and dumped me for another man 2 years ago. We'd been together for 6 years. We were high school sweethearts who had been closest friends since we were 5 years old until we began dating. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was because we used to be great friends, but I left the door open for her to return. I attempted the pick-me-up dance. She had first blocked me, but she later unblocked me. She was interested in how I was doing. She informed me that she loves me and that she would always have a place in her heart for me. She dragged me along and back and forth because she wants to stop things with the other person and come to me. After 8 months, I get a job offer to work in another nation, where I would be paid 3 times as much as I was before. I accepted the opportunity and I finally moved on from my ex. It was time to start again. As part of my closure, before I eventually go NC, I email her the song Happier by Ed Sheeran. Fast forward to a month ago, when I went to see my ailing brother. At a coffee shop, I bumped across my ex and her boyfriend. We had a brief conversation. Then I bumped into her again in a pub, almost as if she was chasing me, and she began complimenting my appearance, as if she was flirting with me. Inquires about my personal life, such as if I am seeing anybody else. I tell her yes, I have FWBS, and she wonders whether she is more attractive than her. I show her a picture of one of my FWB and say sure. When she inquires about my connection with her, I assure her that it is much superior than ours. I could see she was wounded by my responses. Then she asks whether I miss her or our connection, to which I respond that I do not. Then she apologizes for how she treated me and begs if I would ever consider giving her a shot as a friend. I tell her no, I no longer need toxic people in my life and am a lot happier when you let me go. I could see tears in her eyes, but she didn't want to reveal them, so she walked away. Over the following 2 weeks, she texted me at random, wondering why I hadn't kept my pledge to love her forever. And if her relationship doesn't work out, I'll be there to meet her. I simply disregard them, but I like reading them. Story 3. My ex-wife's husband, the one she cheated with, wants to be friends now. So, around 4-5 years ago, my wife cheated on me and ended up marrying the man. I truly moved on from the circumstance. I've gone through various forms of counseling and am now remarried. The guy she cheated on me phoned me at random, which is strange considering the last time I spoke with him was years ago, and it ended with me threatening to beat him up. Did I mention I was irritated? So he bursts into tears and apologizes to me. He then informs me that my ex-wife is doing to him exactly what she did to me. No surprise there. He claims that he now realizes what I went through and the trauma he inflicted on me. He then asked if we could hang out and have some drinks. This entire situation is just too strange for me. I simply used quarantine as an excuse since I did felt horrible for him. But he continues contacting me, attempting to strike up a dialogue with me, but I don't answer. It simply brings up old memories and anguish that I haven't experienced in a long time. My wife is also against my talking to him because she believes all you guys are going to do is speak about her. How should I address this situation? I'm not a vindictive person who loves to kick someone down even if they deserve it. Therefore, I feel horrible for not assisting him. Because she's doing the same thing she did to me, slandering me in front of all my friends with falsehoods in order to get them to join her side. As a result, he is alone and has no one to speak to. I should emphasize that I have no desire to be his buddy and am not even contemplating it. This is only a rant. I even shared this message to my wife, who is truly enjoying seeing this train disaster in their life. Haha. But I appreciate your concern. I'm going to block him. I was just talking about how horrible I felt.